What if I told you there was a city, an advanced utopian civilization, that vanished in a single day and night? Could such a place have really existed? Or is it nothing more than a philosophical bedtime story? Let's dive into the legend of Atlantis, unravel its mysteries, and discover if there's any truth hiding beneath the waves. So what's the deal with Atlantis? Did it really exist? Or is it just one of those ancient mysteries we'll never solve? Well, buckle up, because we're about to dive into the world of ancient legends, Plato's dialogues, and a whole lot of submerged land that might just be hiding something more than seaweed. Plus, we will discuss new theories about Atlantis that you are guaranteed not to have heard before. Imagine this: Poseidon, the god of the sea, sitting around one day thinking, you know what? I'm going to create the most magnificent civilization the world has ever seen. Also, I need a little island for it. Enter Atlantis, a land so vast, it made all of Libya and Asia look like backyard gardens. And no, it wasn't some over-the-top vacation spot. It was a full-on world-changing empire. According to Plato's Timaeus and Critias, Atlantis was the brainchild of Poseidon himself, who, for some reason, was really into the idea of creating a paradise. Not just a couple of palm trees and a beach bar, but an entire civilization with concentric rings of land and water, an island so magnificent that even the gods were impressed. It wasn't just about beaches and sunsets. The capital city had a palace for Poseidon, glittering with gold and precious stones. You think Las Vegas is flashy? Try an island-sized city that makes your most extravagant daydreams look like a toddler's playset. But here's the kicker: Atlantis wasn't just pretty to look at. Oh no, it was practical. It was organized. The Atlanteans were engineers, farmers, and, wait for it, world-class conquerors. They had roads, canals, and ships that could probably outclass anything we've got today. Atlantis was basically the Silicon Valley of the ancient world, except with a little more gold and a lot more drama. Now, I know what you're thinking. Was Atlantis just too perfect? Let's be real. No one's perfect. And even in paradise, trouble's always lurking. But let's start with the good stuff. Atlantis was on fire, in a good way. Agriculture? Check. They had fertile land producing more food than a season finale of the Great British Bake Off. Architecture? Out of this world. Their cities? A labyrinth of beautiful canals, and I mean, who needs a backyard pool when you've got concentric rings of water? But wait, there's more. Atlantis wasn't just an island. Oh no, it was an empire. The Atlanteans built ships that conquered lands as far as Europe and Africa. Their navy was like the ancient version of a billion-dollar corporation expanding into new markets. Think Amazon meets Pirates of the Caribbean, but with better architecture and way more resources. So what happened? Why does no one talk about Atlantis today, other than when someone's asking about the Bimini Road or Edgar Cayce's visions? Here's the plot twist. Atlantis wasn't just about sea creatures and gold-plated palaces. Like every great empire, it had its flaws. You see, the Atlanteans got a little carried away. I mean, what could go wrong when you have unlimited resources, world domination, and divine backing? According to Plato, the people of Atlantis were initially pure and virtuous. They lived in harmony with nature, but as time passed, they began to feel themselves. They got greedy, prideful, and, well, forgot who made them great in the first place: Poseidon. Suddenly, their empire wasn't about balance anymore. It was about more land, more wealth, more power. Sound familiar? A little too much ambition can go a long way, straight to the bottom of the ocean, in Atlantis's case. The gods, particularly Poseidon, were like, no, we're going to have to put a stop to this. In one night, in a storm of earthquakes, floods, and a good old-fashioned divine smackdown, Atlantis was swallowed whole by the sea, and just like that, it was gone, disappeared, poof. The island that had once ruled the world was now a lost civilization. But wait, does this mean Atlantis was just a cautionary tale? Was it real? Or is it one of those ancient mysteries that Plato used to make a philosophical point? Could the Bimini Road be the remnants of Atlantis? What about Edgar Cayce's predictions of a lost civilization under the sea? Even though Atlantis sank, it left behind a trail of clues that still keeps us up at night. Scholars, treasure hunters, and even mystics have spent centuries trying to uncover its secrets. Some point to the Minoan Civilization, another ancient empire with similarities to Atlantis. Others claim Atlantis could be hiding under the Doggerland seabed, or maybe it's somewhere in the Pacific, buried deep under the waves, possibly linked to Lemuria. The mystery only grows. Is Atlantis real? Maybe. Maybe not. But isn't it fun to think about? What if Plato wasn't just telling a story? What if he was passing on a warning about the dangers of unchecked ambition, pride, and forgetting your roots? Atlantis was a shining example of human potential, and a tragic reminder of what happens when we lose our way. So where is Atlantis now? Lost to time? Or hidden, waiting to be rediscovered? Maybe you'll be the one to find it. But until then, we'll keep exploring the Timaeus and Critias dialogues and keep digging into the ancient mysteries of our past. And hey, if you do find Atlantis, let us know. We've got a few questions about how they built those concentric rings of water. If you're loving this dive into the mysteries of Atlantis, give this video a thumbs up. It really helps get this content to more curious minds like yours. Was Plato reporting history or crafting a cautionary tale? Some scholars argue Plato intended Atlantis to be a metaphor for human hubris. Others, well, they're convinced he was revealing some serious truths. Plato wasn't the only one to talk about Atlantis. Enter Crantor, a student of Plato's student Xenocrates, who believed the story wasn't just a metaphor but factual. He even cited Egyptian records as proof, claiming they detailed a powerful sunken city. And it doesn't stop there. Let's rewind even further to Hellanicus of Lesbos, a historian who lived before Plato. He also mentioned a great advanced city swallowed by the sea. Coincidence? Or was Plato building on an already ancient legend? Fun fact: Plato even described Atlantis as being larger than Libya and Asia combined. Now, either the man had an imagination the size of Jupiter, or he knew something we don't. What do you think? Now, where did Plato get the story of Atlantis? Let's start with Solon, the OG of Atlantis lore. Picture this. It's around 600 BCE, and Solon, an Athenian statesman with a knack for storytelling, is chilling in the Egyptian city of Sais. He's probably thinking, man, I could really use some inspiration for my next dinner party anecdote. Enter the Egyptian priests, who casually drop the juiciest story of all time, the lost civilization of Atlantis. These priests described Atlantis as a land of wealth, power, and people who were basically the Kardashians of antiquity, super glamorous but prone to self-destruction. Solon was so captivated that he couldn't keep it to himself. He passed the tale down through his family like a secret family recipe until it finally landed in the lap of Plato, who decided to spice it up with some philosophical flair. Can you imagine Solon hearing this and thinking, this will absolutely crush at the symposium? What would you do if someone told you about a sunken superpower over wine and figs? Next up, Amynander of Athemania, a historical figure from ancient Greece who somehow gets dragged into Atlantis discussions like your one cousin who insists they're related to a celebrity. Here's the thing. Amynander had zero connection to Atlantis. He was busy dealing with Roman conquests and running his little corner of Greece. But speculative theorists love to throw his name into the mix, possibly because it sounds exotic or just because they ran out of actual Atlantis leads. Do you think Amynander ever rolled in his grave like, seriously guys, I was a real person, leave me out of your lost continent fanfiction? Fast forward to the 17th century and meet Athanasius Kircher, a German Jesuit scholar who had big Atlantis energy. This guy wasn't just writing about Atlantis, he was mapping it out. In his book Mundus Subterraneus, he placed Atlantis smack dab between Africa and America like some kind of ancient cruise destination. Kircher's map even suggested that the Canary Islands and the Azores were the mountain peaks of sunken Atlantis. Bold claim, right? Though we have to wonder, was he on to something or just really bad at geography? Let's be honest. If you were a 17th century scholar, wouldn't you also throw in a wild Atlantis map just to keep things interesting? What would your Atlantis map look like? Fast forward to the 19th century, and we meet Ignatius Donnelly, who wrote the Definitive Atlantis Was Real manifesto. He argued that Atlantis was the cradle of civilization, influencing cultures from Egypt to the Americas. Bold claim, right? But Donnelly didn't stop there. He proposed a precise location for Atlantis, right in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, just beyond the Pillars of Hercules. For those wondering, that's the ancient term for the rocks flanking the entrance to the Straits of Gibraltar. In Donnelly's vision, Atlantis wasn't just a myth. It was a vast continent, teeming with life, culture, and innovation. He believed its people were the progenitors of civilizations like Egypt, the Maya, and even ancient Europe. The flood myths from these cultures, to Donnelly, they all pointed back to one source, the sinking of Atlantis. And here's the twist. Donnelly claimed that Atlantis sank into the ocean due to a massive cataclysm, possibly a combination of earthquakes and floods. This idea aligned perfectly with Plato's description of a sudden, devastating event that swallowed the city whole. Critics, of course, argue that Donnelly's theories are pure speculation, pointing out that there's no geological evidence of a sunken continent in the Atlantic. But Donnelly's work didn't just inspire debate. It reignited the world's fascination with Atlantis, turning it into one of history's most enduring mysteries. If Donnelly gave Atlantis a historical framework, William Scott Elliot took it to a whole new realm, one steeped in mysticism and spiritualism. A prominent theosophist in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Scott Elliot claimed to have detailed knowledge of Atlantis through clairvoyant visions. In his book, The Story of Atlantis, Scott Elliot described Atlantis as a sprawling, technologically advanced civilization. He divided its history into multiple epochs, each marked by incredible achievements and devastating downfalls. According to Scott Elliot, Atlanteans weren't just advanced, they were spiritually enlightened. He claimed they harnessed psychic powers and crystal energy to power their society. He even suggested that their downfall came from abusing these powers, leading to their ultimate destruction. But Scott Elliot's account wasn't just about the past. It also hinted at a connection between Atlanteans and modern humans. He believed that remnants of their wisdom were passed down through secret teachings, influencing esoteric traditions around the world. Critics often dismiss Scott Elliot's work as pure fantasy, arguing it lacks any scientific basis. But his vivid descriptions have undeniably added to the mythology of Atlantis, fueling its portrayal as not just a lost civilization, but a mystical one. Enjoying the journey so far? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join me as we uncover more incredible legends and lost cities. Charles Berlitz, an American linguist, writer, and the man who turned Atlantis into a bestseller. If you've ever heard someone passionately argue that Atlantis was totally real, there's a good chance they were quoting Berlitz. In his books, Berlitz explored the idea that Atlantis wasn't just a myth, but an actual place that sank into the ocean. He also connected Atlantis to the Bermuda Triangle, because why stop at one mystery when you can combine two? Do you think Berlitz was onto something, or was he just the king of what-if scenarios? And seriously, does every unsolved mystery eventually circle back to Atlantis? Let's talk about Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, a man who could nap harder than your uncle on Thanksgiving, but with one key difference. He woke up with visions of Atlantis instead of a half-eaten turkey leg. Cayce wasn't just a psychic, he was the psychic. This guy gave thousands of readings, but his takes on Atlantis? Pure gold. According to him, Atlantis wasn't just real, it was a bustling island paradise between the Gulf of Mexico and the Mediterranean. Think ancient Las Vegas meets Silicon Valley, minus the Wi-Fi. Can you imagine? Was Plato just giving us the appetizer while Cayce had the full buffet? Cayce described Atlantis as a civilization so advanced it makes today's tech look like kindergarten arts and crafts. They had energy crystals that powered cities, airships that soared the skies, and gadgets that could harness atomic energy. Oh, and they could control the weather. No big deal. But here's the twist. All that tech wasn't enough to save them from themselves. According to Cayce, the Atlanteans fell victim to a classic case of too much power, not enough chill. They got greedy, formed rival factions, and get this, accidentally triggered massive earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and rising sea levels. Talk about a bad day at the office. Seriously though, if they had all this tech, why didn't they just build like a giant raft or something? Anyone else thinking they needed better disaster prep? And then there's Cayce's mic drop moment. Reincarnation. He believed that the souls of the Atlanteans didn't just vanish. They were reborn into other civilizations, carrying their ancient knowledge with them. So, who knows? Maybe your overly tech-savvy neighbor is just a reincarnated Atlantean trying to bring back crystal-powered Wi-Fi. Love him or leave him, Cayce's visions have inspired countless explorers, writers, and conspiracy theorists. And then there's Graham Hancock, the Sherlock Holmes of ancient mysteries. This British author has dedicated entire books to piecing together the puzzle of Atlantis, proposing theories that range from plausible to mind-blowing. Hancock's work suggests that Atlantis might not have been a single location but a network of advanced civilizations that were wiped out by cataclysmic events. Think of it as the original shared universe. But instead of superheroes, we've got ancient architects and engineers. Do you think Hancock's theories hold water? Literally? Or is he just really good at making us question everything we thought we knew about history? But wait, it gets juicier. In Plato's story, Atlantis wasn't just big, it was blinged out. Picture canals crisscrossing the land, massive temples plated in gold, and elephants. Yes, elephants roaming the streets. Did someone say ancient safari city? Over the centuries, theories about Atlantis have ranged from plausible to downright bizarre. Let's explore some of the theories. Could Atlantis have taken its final plunge in the Bermuda Triangle? Yes, that Bermuda Triangle. The one famous for devouring ships, planes, and your uncle's fishing stories. In the 1970s, Charles Berlitz claimed that Atlantis was a continent just off the Bahamas, swallowed whole by this mysterious maritime menace. Supporters of this theory often point to the so-called Bimini Road, a series of underwater stone structures that look suspiciously like an ancient pathway. Could this be Atlantean architecture, or just rocks trying to get their 15 minutes of fame? Scientists say the latter, natural formations caused by erosion. But hey, when has science ever stopped a good conspiracy? So, was Atlantis the first victim of the Bermuda Triangle? Or is this just another case of letting our imaginations run wild? Either way, the mystery remains unsolved. Just like where all those socks go in the laundry. Next stop on our Atlantis tour, Antarctica, that's right. The land of penguins, polar explorers, and possibly Plato's lost city. In 1958, Charles Hapgood proposed that Atlantis was a temperate paradise before Earth's crust decided to pull a geographical switcheroo, shifting the continent to its current icy location. According to Hapgood, this sudden relocation, around 12,000 years ago, turned Atlantis from a tropical utopia into an ice-covered wasteland. Talk about a cold reception, huh? While the theory has been criticized for lacking geological evidence, it's hard not to love the idea of penguins waddling through ancient Atlantean ruins. Who wouldn't want to see that documentary? Before we wrap up Antarctica, let's address the frozen elephant in the room. Why are so many areas of this icy continent off limits? You can't just book a flight and go wherever you want. Most of it's a no-go zone. Is it because of extreme weather? Sure. But is that the only reason? Could it be that Atlantis is still there, perfectly preserved under all that ice? Maybe the Atlanteans didn't sink. They just hit the snooze button for a few millennia. And what if they're still thriving, sipping crystal-powered cappuccinos while watching us fumble with fossil fuels? So what do you think? Are governments hiding something? Is Antarctica more than just penguins and glaciers? Or is it home to the ultimate lost civilization? Keep your tinfoil hats handy. We're just asking questions here. Could Atlantis have been washed away by a prehistoric flood of epic proportions? Some theories suggest that the legendary city lies beneath the Black Sea, submerged around 5,600 BCE, when rising sea levels breached a natural dam and turned a freshwater lake into the saltwater sea we know today. This flood would have been catastrophic for any civilization living along the shoreline. Imagine waking up one day to find your beachfront property is now underwater, permanently. Sound familiar, Venice? While there's no direct evidence linking the Black Sea flood to Atlantis, it's a compelling story. After all, if you're going to lose a city, why not lose it in style? Now let's sail to Crete, home of the ancient Minoans, a civilization so advanced they made the rest of the ancient world look like amateurs. Indoor plumbing, multi-story buildings, intricate artwork. The Minoans had it all. But then, poof, they vanished, leaving behind ruins and a mystery that's been begging for an Atlantean connection. Some researchers believe a massive volcanic eruption on the nearby island of Thera, modern-day Santorini, triggered a chain of events. tsunamis, earthquakes, and general mayhem that wiped out the Minoans. Sound like Atlantis? Maybe. But where are the crystal-powered spaceships, huh? Atlantis in the Sahara Desert. Sounds crazy, but hear me out. The Richat structure in Mauritania, also known as the Eye of the Sahara, is a massive circular geological feature that some say matches Plato's description of Atlantis's concentric rings. Supporters argue that ancient seas once covered the area, and the Richat's unique formation could have been Atlantis's capital. Critics, however, point out a glaring flaw. No archaeological evidence. Nada. Zip. But hey, when has that stopped us before? What do you think about the Richat structure theory? Is it plausible, or does it belong in the realm of pure fiction? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Sardinia, known for its beaches, ancient ruins, and possibly Atlantis. This theory suggests that a powerful civilization on the island was partially submerged by a catastrophic flood or tsunami. Some even point to Nurag towers, mysterious stone fortresses, as remnants of this lost culture. But could these ruins really be Atlantean? Or are we just grasping at Mediterranean straws? Next, we venture to the Azores Islands, a remote Atlantic archipelago. Some believe these islands are the last visible peaks of Atlantis, their mountains once towering over a sprawling sunken continent. Proponents cite underwater volcanic formations and mysterious ruins as evidence. Skeptics, however, argue that Atlantis being here is about as plausible as finding it in your backyard. But hey, a little imagination never hurt anyone, right? Could Malta be the true Atlantis? This Mediterranean island is home to some of the world's oldest megalithic temples, predating even the Egyptian pyramids. Supporters argue that Malta's advanced prehistoric culture aligns with Plato's description of Atlantis. But if that's the case, where's the rest of the city? Did it sink? Or are we just bad at hide and seek? Finally, let's dive near the Strait of Gibraltar to Spartel Bank, an underwater plateau some say was Atlantis. During the last ice age, it could have been above water, making it a prime candidate. But rising sea levels might have submerged it, leaving behind nothing but speculation. And maybe a few fish who claim they saw it happen. Was it a real place, like Crete or Santorini, or an allegory for an ideal society gone wrong? The debate rages on. Alright, let's talk about the hunt for Atlantis. Some claim it's under the Mediterranean Sea. Others point to the Caribbean. And then there's the Bimini Road in the Bahamas. These mysterious underwater rock formations look like they could be remnants of an ancient road. Atlantis, perhaps? Or just nature's way of messing with us? Geologists say it's natural. Believers say, sure, Jan. Let's talk about Doggerland. Yes, Doggerland. Sounds like a theme park for dogs, but it's actually a real sunken landmass that once connected Britain to mainland Europe. Picture it. A sprawling prehistoric paradise teeming with woolly mammoths, saber-toothed cats, and early humans living their best Stone Age lives. But then, around 8,000 years ago, rising sea levels and a catastrophic tsunami said, nope. Doggerland disappeared beneath the waves, leaving behind only fossils, stone tools, and a whole lot of questions. If an entire landmass like Doggerland could vanish, why not Atlantis? It's a real-world example of how ancient civilizations could be lost to history, literally drowned out by time. And here's the kicker. Some researchers believe Atlantis could be hiding under the Doggerland seabed. Could the lost city be tucked away beneath layers of silt and sediment, waiting for some lucky archaeologist to dig it up? Or are we just projecting our Atlantis dreams onto poor Doggerland, like a bad case of historical wishful thinking? Either way, Doggerland is proof that ancient land masses can, and do, sink beneath the sea. Whether it's Atlantis or just a prehistoric Europe-UK land bridge, one thing's for sure. We're all standing on history, even if it's underwater. Let's detour into one of the world's greatest literary enigmas, the Voynich manuscript. You've probably heard of it. This 600-year-old book is written in a language no one has been able to decode. Cryptographers, linguists, and even AI have tried cracking its code, but it remains stubbornly untranslatable. Now, here's a wild thought. Could this be the language of Atlantis? Think about it. Plato described Atlantis as a highly advanced civilization. If they were so ahead of their time, wouldn't they have developed a unique written language? The Voynich manuscript, with its cryptic script and otherworldly illustrations, seems almost too advanced for the medieval period it's dated to. And those bizarre plant diagrams? Some scholars think they represent species we've never seen before. What if they're not from Earth as we know it, but relics from Atlantis's botanical gardens? Far-fetched? Maybe. But then again, so is the idea of a continent sinking into the ocean. Of course, skeptics will say the Voynich manuscript is just a medieval hoax or a creative cipher. But until someone decodes it, who's to say it isn't the last surviving artifact of Atlantis's lost language? Maybe it's time we stop trying to translate it and start asking where it really came from. Alright folks, let's dive into the out-of-this-world theories about Atlantis, literally. What if Atlantis wasn't just advanced but alien? Cue the eerie X-Files music because this is where things get wild. First up, the ancient astronauts theory. Picture this. Atlanteans weren't just brilliant engineers, they had extraterrestrial BFFs. The pyramids? Alien blueprints. Those advanced energy crystals. Straight out of a UFO user manual. Did aliens drop by for a cosmic barbecue and accidentally teach humans too much? And more importantly, how do I get invited to one of those parties? Then there's the lost alien civilization theory. What if Atlantis wasn't just a city but an intergalactic outpost? Maybe the Atlanteans were like, hey, Earth has great vibes. Let's settle here. But then something went wrong. Alien war, cosmic layoff. Or maybe they just realized Earth's Wi-Fi sucks and bailed. And it gets weirder. Some people think the mysterious crystal skulls, yes, those creepy artifacts Indiana Jones chased after, are Atlantean tech with alien origins. Imagine this. Atlanteans sitting around with glowing skulls, Googling the secrets of the universe. Did they overdo it and accidentally hit the self-destruct button? Classic Atlantean move. But wait, what if the Atlanteans weren't entirely human? Enter the hybrid human theory. According to this, aliens mixed a little of their DNA with ours to create super smart Atlanteans, kind of like humanity's beta version, but with extra brain power and probably better abs. The real question is, are we their great-great-great-grandkids, or just the disappointing sequel? And for the grand finale, how about this gem, the Atlanteans as visitors from space theory? What if the Atlanteans didn't sink but simply flew home? Imagine them looking down at Earth and saying, thanks for all the fish, and zipping off to the next galaxy. Did they leave us behind to figure out pyramids and plumbing on our own? Harsh Atlanteans. Real harsh. So, what do you think? Was Atlantis a hotspot for alien hangouts? Or are we just really bad at explaining advanced ancient civilizations? Either way, one thing's for sure. Next time you look at the stars, you might wonder, are the Atlanteans still out there laughing at us for losing their city? Atlantis and the Black Knight satellite. Two legends separated by space, but maybe not by time. What if these two mythical mysteries are actually connected? Let's boldly go where no conspiracy theory has gone before. Here's the setup. Atlantis supposedly thrived around 9,600 BCE. The Black Knight satellite? Estimated to have been orbiting Earth for 13,000 years. Coincidence? Maybe. But what if the Atlanteans were way ahead of their time and decided, hey, let's launch a satellite. Everyone's doing it. Well, everyone with alien tech, that is. Let's entertain the idea that the Black Knight satellite was an Atlantean creation. Picture this. Atlanteans, with their crystal-powered technology, building a surveillance satellite to keep tabs on their global empire. After all, how else do you keep an eye on your underwater pyramids, Mayan temples, and those random crop circles? But wait, what if it wasn't the Atlanteans who launched it? What if the Black Knight satellite was alien tech monitoring Atlantis? Imagine some extraterrestrial beings parked in orbit, sipping cosmic coffee, and watching the Atlanteans like a real-life reality show. Ooh, look, they're building pyramids again? Classic Atlantis. And here's where it gets juicy. Did the Black Knight satellite warn the aliens about Atlantis's impending doom? Maybe they were like, uh-oh, their civilization's about to sink, time to peace out. Or maybe the satellite caused Atlantis's destruction. A cosmic oops moment, perhaps. Of course, some theories suggest the Black Knight was simply left behind by aliens as a universal babysitter. Was it meant to watch over humanity after Atlantis disappeared? Or was it just checking if we finally figured out fire and wheels? And here's the kicker. If the Black Knight satellite is still orbiting Earth today, could it hold Atlantean secrets? Ancient maps, blueprints for crystal tech, or maybe just a playlist of Atlantean sea shanties? Whatever's up there, you've got to admit, it's the ultimate lost and found. So what do you think? Did the Atlanteans send the Black Knight up as their first foray into space exploration? Or is it an alien relic, silently judging us from orbit? Either way, next time you gaze at the night sky, remember, someone or something might just be watching. Creepy, right? Now let's take a quick pause for a reality check. While these theories are undeniably fascinating, and let's be honest, a lot of fun to explore, I don't actually believe any of them. My goal here isn't to convince you that Atlantis was an alien outpost, or that the Black Knight satellite is Atlantean tech. Instead, it's to spark curiosity, entertain, and dive into the endless possibilities of what could have been. After all, history is often stranger than fiction. But sometimes, fiction just makes for a better story. Let's keep the speculation going with the next mystery. Now moving on, here's where things get fascinating. Atlantis isn't the only story of a great flood or a lost civilization. Ever heard of Noah's Ark, the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Hindu legend of Manu? Cultures worldwide have eerily similar tales of catastrophic floods wiping out entire civilizations. Coincidence? Or a collective memory of a real event? Think about this. What if these myths aren't just stories, but fragments of a shared history? Take the story of Atlantis and compare it to the myth of Kumari Kandam in Tamil culture, a sunken landmass said to have been home to an advanced civilization. Or look at Zealandia, an actual underwater continent that was discovered in the 21st century. While it doesn't have golden temples or elephants, it proves that vast landmasses can vanish beneath the waves. So is Atlantis just one piece of a larger puzzle? And let's not stop there. What about Lemuria or Mu? These are other mythical lost lands that supposedly sank beneath the waves. Did our ancestors just have a thing for drowning continents, or were they onto something? Atlantis has also left its mark on pop culture. From Disney's Atlantis, The Lost Empire, to conspiracy theories on ancient aliens, the lost city continues to spark our imagination. But that's just scratching the surface. Atlantis has inspired everything from novels to sci-fi adventures. Jules Verne, the master of speculative fiction, imagined underwater civilizations in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And let's not forget Atlantis in gaming, from Tomb Raider to Assassin's Creed. Why are we so hooked? Maybe it's the allure of lost knowledge, a utopia that was almost within reach but tragically destroyed. Why are we so obsessed? Is it the allure of a utopia, or just the thrill of a good mystery? Let's get scientific. Geologists and historians argue that natural disasters like tsunamis or volcanic eruptions could explain the Atlantis myth. Take the Minoan Civilization on Crete. It was wiped out by a volcanic eruption around 1600 BCE. Could this have inspired Plato's story? And then there's the Yonaguni Monument in Japan. Some say it's a sunken city, others say it's just funky rocks. Either way, it proves that underwater mysteries are very real. Atlantis, an advanced civilization lost beneath the waves. Its story is one of mystery, power, and the secrets of a world beyond our own. But what if I told you? Atlantis isn't the only legend that speaks of hidden pathways to another realm. In a remote forest in Pennsylvania, a chilling tale unfolds. The Seven Gates of Hell, an enigmatic series of portals said to lead not just to another place, but to an entirely different dimension. Some believe these gates are mere myth. Others have ventured too far to ever return. Are these gates remnants of ancient knowledge like the wisdom of Atlantis, or do they serve a darker purpose, bridging our world with the unknown? Join me in my next video as we journey through the eerie legend of the Seven Gates of Hell. What lies beyond them? And could they hold the key to other lost mysteries like Atlantis itself? Let us know what you think in the comments. And if you enjoyed this dive into Atlantis, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. But before you go, here's something special. This is the only YouTube channel that exclusively focuses on both lost cities and urban legends. If you're a fan of uncovering hidden truths, exploring ancient mysteries, or diving into the stories behind the legends, you're in the right place. And hey, if you made it this far, you're clearly one of the real ones. Thank you for watching until the end. It means the world. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next adventure.